The death toll in Highland Park now up to 7.
Frankly, who were present on the scene, they were shot at. That may also constitute an attempt murder charge.
As the suspected parade shooter faces a judge and reportedly confesses. Extra attention is in the cards.
Maybe a couple of these families will get those answers they've been seeking.
For the state's cold cases. And a storybook reunion.
Just never stopped looking for him.
For a pup missing in Southwest Florida for more than 8 years. These stories and more coming up on Newsbreak.
Hello, South Florida. I'm Leon Abu Tarbouche.
I'm Elena Key, and today is Thursday, July 7th, 2022.
Live from the South Florida Media Network's Biscayne-based studios in North Miami, this is SFMN Newsbreak.
Evening vigil, the residents of Highland Park, Illinois, gathering together to remember neighbors killed in Monday's parade shooting. In the meantime, the suspected shooter had his first court appearance and talked about considering a second Independence Day shooting spree.
And we now know the identities of all 7 of the shooting victims. This is a plot that has been working on for weeks.
Celebration turned into mourning when 21-year-old Robert Cremo, armed with a high-profile rifle, fired more than 70 rounds into the crowd from the top of a building. The victims were killed while celebrating America's independence. Suspect evaded the police for 8 hours by wearing a wig and dressing in women's clothing, covering his tattoos and blending into the crowd. Senator Tammy Duckworth says Good Samaritans found Aiden underneath his father, who died at the scene.
I'll never forget, I pulled up and I said, "This is not our kid. It's not his blood. He's okay. What should we do?" And the cop said, "We can't be babysitters now. Can you take care of him?"
Authorities claim the suspect considered carrying out another attack in Madison, Wisconsin, with another weapon found in his car, but he did not go through with his plan.
McCarthy started a GoFundMe account for the orphan 2-year-old boy. Relatives of Aiden McCarthy started a GoFundMe account for the orphan 2-year-old boy. In the first 24 hours, it raised more than $2 million.
The city of Uvalde mayor is accusing someone of covering up the truth about the school shooting that happened almost 2 months ago. 19 elementary students and 2 teachers died. An active shooter training center reports this tragedy could have been avoided. They claim that one officer spotted the gunman before he entered the school, but was not given permission to shoot.
A change is coming to Downing Street as a British Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, announces his resignation. During a news conference earlier today, Johnson said that he was stepping down. The move follows a revolt within his Conservative Party, with 50 members of his government stepping down. Johnson said that the process of choosing a new Prime Minister should begin immediately.
On my back for a second, and they went off into the woods, and we went looking and never found Harley.
8 years after a Southwest Florida dog goes missing, he turns up again. Newsbreak will be back in 2 minutes.
Jordan knows he shouldn't eat this entire bowl of nachos, but tonight he's earned that right, because a few hours ago in the middle of happy hour, he recognized a sign, not from the gods or a bolt of lightning, but from a double heart, a kissy face, and a 4th ha in ha ha ha. That's when Jordan knew he was buzzed. So when it was time to go, he got a ride home instead of driving. Be a legend like Jordan. Recognize your buzzed warning signs and get a ride home. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
My mother was always very familiar with her neighborhood, but one day she stopped at the stop sign for much longer than usual. And she didn't know whether she should go forward or turn, and she wasn't even really sure where she was at. It was very unsettling for her.
I felt so much better after my son told me, "Mom, I don't want you to worry or be afraid. I'll be there for you and we'll figure it out."
prepared as your family if a tornado shows up at your doorstep, or a flood, or a hurricane. You can't just turn away a natural disaster. That's why it's important to go to ready.gov/plan now. It has the tools and tips you need to make an emergency plan with your family. So if disaster comes knocking,
let's go.
You'll be ready to help keep your family safe.
It's just a pizza.
Yes. Make a plan today.
Rough reunion. A dog found in poor health but alive returned to his owner more than 8 years after he went missing in the Fort Myers area. Harley the pit bull was his own for so long that his owner had moved out of the state by the time he turned up.
The network's Samantha Gutierrez is in the control center this morning with his reunion tale.
Pets can be more than just an animal you feed and bathe. They can become members of a family and carry a great deal of love. And when they go missing, the pain is just as great.
And
8 years ago in Fort Myers, Betsy Zehan lost a member of her family. Harley, her pit bull, ran away from home, and in desperate attempts at looking for her, Betsy never found her dog.
I turned my back for a second and they went off into the woods, and we went looking and never found Harley. We searched and cruised and looked and put up posters and sent out the wanted missing pet, and just never stopped looking for him.
Not until one fateful text message.
It made me cry. It was just so heartbreaking to think about being torn away from one of my animals who I just love, and then being able to find him.
Angie Bray and her friend found what looked like a missing dog, weak and malnourished, and took it to the Cypress Lake Animal Hospital, where they used the chip on her collar to find Betsy's number and contact her about Harley.
I got the text, and you know how you think Google always picks up on your advertisement? I'm like, this is a scam. This is not real.
Betsy had moved to Missouri, but drove over 1,000 miles to be reunited with Harley.
Buddy, oh my God, baby, oh my God. Hi, sweetheart. Oh my God, look at you. Oh my God, I know, we're gonna go home.
Betsy plans to take Harley back to Missouri with her. In the control center, Samantha Gutierrez for South Florida Media Network.
Today, a service dog is back home with its owner after allegedly being stolen by a South Florida couple earlier this week. The dog sailor went missing Monday morning. Police say the couple demanded $1,000 from the dog's owner in order to safely return it at Dadeland Mall. Now the suspects are released on bond and charged with grand theft.
Today, people are rushing to sign a petition for a spider to be named after Pringles. The kidney garden spider has a bean-shaped patch that the chip company says resembles Mr. P's mustache. The Pringles look-alike lives in Southeast Asia and measures about 1/4 of an inch long. Although it looks kind of like Mr. P, the producers here at Newsbreak think Oscar from Duolingo is a better match for the spider.
That's all the time we have for Newsbreak. I'm Leanne Abu Torbush.
I'm Elena Key. Get more news anytime at sfmn.fiu.edu.